Welcome to the Neighborhood Radio. I'm your host, Rick is Ugly,
Zeke Lanham.
and today we have the wonderful Bice on. Going to be interviewing them. They're a very talented producer from Texas. Always doing great things in their community, and we're just very happy to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It's
Of
an honor
course.
to be here, and shout out y'all and Dom for creating this cool ass community. I was like scoping through it. I'm like, this is like, I feel like I'm at the block, like just neighborhood,
That's what's up.
neighbor vibe,
Yeah, that's the
good, good vibes.
That's exactly what we would try to set out to do. So, how you been? How's your day today?
My day's been good. I'm a little geeked from coffee.
yeah.
Um,
I should have done that, to be honest. Would be good.
go
Good
brew
right
a
about
pot.
there.
Yeah, I'm chilling though. My family's coming in for Xmas, so
Nice.
taking a little breather, chilling
Have you
with
done all
family.
your Have you done all your shopping?
Yeah, so um broke vibes this year. I only focused on my partner and my niece and nephew. Um
Yeah.
I'll show you what I got. My She's a big fan of Caliucci, so I got her this record.
Oh, fire! That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great record too. It reminds me of like why I love like Sade or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hell yeah, that's
yeah,
so
I
good.
I I got that done.
Yeah,
How are
very
y'all
cool.
doing
Yeah, pretty good.
on shopping?
Yeah, I got my partner's presents. I got her a Ponyo plush toy, and I got her the 1975 record. And
Super
also a
super
necklace.
cute. Nice. I'm anti-shopping too, so we don't shop for or uh, I love Christmas for the fam, but fuck Christmas. Nah, I like family shit. We're in the
Mm.
block right now.
Those things where it's like you don't really need the holiday as an excuse for it, but it's nice to just be like forced to almost.
Yeah, I feel you. That's the best part, like the family part. But like going through, like I went to Target, I'm like, man, we're in a capitalist hellscape right now.
Yeah, I actually haven't been to like inside a single normal retail store like this entire season. I'm so happy for that.
You worked at one, no?
I used to work out. I mean, I've done retail all my life. I technically still am at retail, but it's like it's a hardware store though.
For sure. Yeah, locally's the move. I got some like candles from a homie and bath stuff.
No, that's awesome. No, yeah, where I live has a lot of like wooden, on canvas, art, just always selling around. So I've got
Yeah.
my dad, uh, just a little wooden block that was carved in with a scenery of the mountains here,
Oh, that's cute.
and then uh, with my mom, we didn't go local for that. Me and my older sibling, we went half and half on a big ass TV because she had an old one. She just leaves on all the time, has hella burn in,
Shit.
and so I need to get a new one. But of course, that TV she had was like 70 inches, so that really bit.
Damn.
No,
Theater. IMAX.
yeah. So
Movie.
we had to go half on that.
For sure, for sure. Yeah,
Awesome.
I think it's funny like when you go to like restaurants and they have like a TV and they have like the logo on the side or something and it's been there for like on for years and it just like burn. You can see like the burn aura
Yeah, it
from
looks
like the
like it looks bad, but
yeah,
they
yeah.
don't notice
It,
it. Like they say, like don't care.
yeah, yeah. Leaves like if you leave like a static image long enough on a TV, it just like burns a
Yeah, I know a lot of like older smartphones, like when OLED panels first came out. A lot of older smartphones would get really bad burn-in.
yeah,
That's when I
for
learned
sure.
a good thing to fight burning is turning on static and like leaving that on for like 10 minutes or so. That
It's just like
if it's not too burnt in, it can kind of help the LEDs chill out with specific colors or something like that. But
Interesting.
that's interesting. We should make like an art piece, just like burn in like your logo or like
I
I
feel like
don't
there
know.
is some really cool stuff. That now that you mentioned, there's probably also really cool art with that.
I had a teacher that he did like TV art, and one of them was like, 'cause you know, like when you break some TVs, like it kind of has like cool colors and turns like pink, and
Yeah.
then like he was like designing like an abstract, kind of like a painting by like hitting it with a
Oh,
hammer.
that's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
let me see if I could. I'll probably put something in the chat so if I find it. But yeah,
That's the kind of process like you'd love to see. Like, what's their philosophy of like making sure that that works out how they want to.
Mm.
yeah, because it could go random quick.
I love unconventional art nowadays because that's the type of stuff like I feel like there's some people who go, modern art sucks. That's not real art. What kind of skill takes
Mm.
is involved in that? But like, nah, like
Yeah.
that's different, you know?
Well, because the thing is, right, like, and this is like what I've been saying, like, with a lot of people look at like, a modern art piece of art and be like my 5-year-old could have done that, right? Between your 5-year-old and the person that made that modern art is the person that made that modern art probably went to art school for for 10 years and not like can paint the most beautiful painting you've ever seen, and they know the rules of art like back to front so that they can break them very intentionally and like, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's about the intention. Like if your intention is to be like take the piss, then that's something different. But like if your intention, you know, even if
mm,
it's like a line or whatever, and but it's like this is about post 9/11, like that's your genuine intention. That's what's up. Like
mm,
I can't knock
mhm,
someone's feeling behind
yeah,
stuff.
The
mm,
thing is, I feel like the fact that that can spark a conversation of someone hating on it so strongly. That's just they're only helping it become art with
mm,
doing that. It's still
mhm,
inciting that strong
mhm,
opinion. It's still
yeah,
strong inciting some emotions in you.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
And
Yeah, yeah.
because you've got to be able to understand the conventions of art in order to break them down and like tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, I was talking to
Uh,
a friend of mine who did the cover for my EP. How it reminds me of comedy a lot. The best comedians and the best actors are like people who understand the form and the cliches, and they know that and then jump off
mm,
with that foundation, and
yeah,
it translates.
yeah. No, if you've got two people and they both did the same thing, and one of them's like, oh yeah, I don't really know like why I did that or whatever, whereas the other person is like, yeah, like I did this because like I know that this is like a trope like within this genre, and I really like wanted to go out of my way to like subvert that and whatever. Like, even though they both did the same thing, like that level of knowledge from the second person about what they did completely um elevates their work.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I just wish more people sort of understood that about modern art instead of just being like, my 5-year-old could have painted that. Like,
It's an
Yeah,
they
that
just,
acclamation.
reaction. Yeah, that reaction is probably what they even like. Not everything is made for entertainment per se.
yeah,
Like sometimes you want anger or you want,
yeah.
you know.
And it's like as well, like when people see like hyper realistic art, like people like love that shit, right? And I don't get it because I'm like I just take a photo if I want it to be like hyper realistic,
That's the kind of
like
thing
I,
that's like that's exactly what's like. uh, if you know how to do that, you're an amazing artist. But what can you do with that skill? Is what like
yeah.
in terms of the entertainment value. If people care about it from that audience
Mm.
standpoint.
Well, like to me, someone who's good at hyper realistic art, it's like being an incredibly talented guitarist, but you can't write music that has any emotion or can't connect with the listener. You know?
A
Uh,
version of that I see now that I do like people that are really technically great at painting or drawing, is that they'll like I've seen this where it trips me out where it's all paint, but they're painting like something from the internet real that's pixelated and like 144 pixels, but like in painting
Mm.
form,
yeah,
or like something that's like really blurry, like a blurry photo, but then they
mhm,
paint exactly how the blurry photo looks. Those translations are
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, yeah, like don't get me wrong, like I've got mad respect for people who are like able to paint things like really realistically, whatever. Like, I think it's like technically like awesome, but like when I'm looking at art, engaging with art, I'm like, I want you to make me feel something, right? Looking at a one-to-one painting of something that already exists, like does me personally doesn't achieve that because I'm like, where's your personal touch? Like, where's your meaning? Like, where's your story with this? You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, but yeah, I could talk about this shit for fucking ages because it pisses me off. um,
That being said, I strive to be a shredder, like in my craft. Yeah, like I mean, like it's not about showing off. It's just more like
Mm.
how y'all are saying, like so I could break the rules, but I know all the rules in a way.
yeah,
I mean, that's like a constant. We'll never, and that's like the best part of being like artist musician. Like
mm.
if you're actually into it, like you'll always be learning shit. Like there's no such thing as like peak.
Well, yeah, and I think like a great example of this, like in music, is like death grips. Like if you actually, you know, pay like here's my hot take, right? Is that Sonic aside, death grips half the time are making pop music, right? Like
Dude,
if you,
as someone who took a long time to listen like Death Grips, when I first heard Money Store, like my first thing was like, this really reminds me of dance music. Like it's way
yeah,
more like
but bro,
conventional than I thought it
death,
would have been,
yeah,
based on what people talk about it as.
Death Grips is catchy as shit. Like if you listen to I've Seen Footage, which by the way was hilarious because the Block TV show actually used I've Seen Footage in it, and that was hilarious on
I've heard
mainstream
about
primetime
that.
television. Anyway, like if you listen to I've Seen Footage, like that song is so catchy. Like every time I think about that song, it gets stuck in my head for the next 5 hours. And Bice, I don't know how familiar you are with Death Grips.
I
Um,
love those grips. Those guys,
yeah,
yo, you could tell they're shredders too. Like Zach Hill he
yeah,
has like
but
a resume of being a crazy ass drummer.
like what I'm saying is like if you listen to Death Grips, like they've got that conventional music genre shit like down pat. Like if they wanted to, I reckon they could genuinely get work with someone like Taylor Swift writing music because like it is that catchy and like
Absolutely.
that conventional like half the time, right? But they do such a great job at using that foundation to create the most insane experimental shit you've ever heard because they know how to write a good catchy pop song.
Death
Uh,
Swift.
They're like, I feel the same way about Hunter Gex. You know, like people
yeah.
love to write them off because it kind of sounds goofy or whatever, but it's
100
a lot.
Swifts.
But they're Dylan Brady, for example, has created some of your favorite records. You don't even know it. And
Yeah.
Laura, their songwriting's like genuinely come from the heart, even if it doesn't like connect. Like that's the kind of stuff. It's it's on one hand, it sucks that people write it off so easily, but at the same time, I'm happy to be on the side that can recognize
Mm,
the intent going into it.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun ass music.
Exactly,
Mhm.
it's just fun. They hear ska, they're like, "Psh, why are you even listening to ska, bro?" Because it makes me laugh. It makes me fun. It's fun to listen to.
Mm.
Yeah, it makes me think too, like all like maybe the genres I maybe rejected or something. Like why reject? Like there's like this fruit
There's
in all of
merit.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all art.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The only genres I won't listen to are rap and country. Everything else
Country,
is good.
yeah, I hate country.
We should all
Not.
put that in our bios again. I love everything, smiley face, except country.
Nah, I've even come around to country in the last like year or two.
There's a
Like
few country
it's
artists
it's
that are
that's one of
decent.
those that's
But,
one of those genres that's a real victim of just bastardization and commercialized coming at the top, and that's pretty much, if you're not into it, that's gonna be all you're gonna be aware of.
Country
But
could go high for sure.
there's
if you
some like
find some,
really like heart wrenching songs in
mm,
country.
Yeah.
if you find like I love finding like really gothic country, like country music that's like sounds like it's like about some guy who is like on a rampage because his lover was murdered or like some shit like that. Like
Yeah, it's like
like
kind of
that
like cartel
like
vibe country,
yeah,
like
like that kind of like
outlaw country.
yeah, yeah, like Nick Cave, like
Yeah,
great
hell yeah.
example.
What music
Or
did you grow up listening to?
The stuff that was being played, like before I like I started choosing what I was into, I guess.
Right.
Um, the music that I was more exposed to because my family was like Tejano music. A popular example of that is like Selena.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
And uh, yeah, that's like the regional music here, like Tejano, cumbia, which is basically like dance polka, Spanish polka.
Hey, Selena's really good on cumbia too.
Hell yeah.
I
Hell
I
yeah.
was really I was really embarrassed because on Reddit I saw people talking about Selena, and I'm like, damn, like Selena Gomez, that's crazy.
That's what I was talking about. Exactly. And um, yeah, there's a huge group right now. They're called Grupo Frontera. They're like huge now. But they're from my county, and their music's great. Grupo Frontera. I think I could type in here, right?
Yeah. And there's a fest VC in the side of there.
I'm gonna like shout out a band that's like hella. They're probably like one of the most popular bands right now. But that kind of music is pretty much the music I grew up with, and it's tight that that's now very popular music. I remember we saw with my parents. I saw them on Jimmy Kimmel like on TV, and they're like, "This is good, but like, why is this popular now? Because this is like just stuff we listen to like normally."
Hmm.
Mm,
And it's tight that, or another example is like Peso Pluma, um, who is also tight. But that kind of music that I grew up listening to, um, and then like in high school you discover like Wu Tang and Radiohead and stuff, and that
mm,
got me on the journey of like
yeah.
like it's like
Yo,
really
I
music
I
love.
actually have a quick question for you, Bice. I'm just out of curiosity, real quick.
Yes.
Cause I like spent a little bit of time in Texas. So when I spent some time there, I got like exposed to like a couple of different like cumbia artists and shit like that.
Hmm.
Are you familiar with the DJ named El Dusty?
Not I have not heard of him.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's based out of Corpus Christi. But yeah, he's like an older dude, but he like spins a ton of different cumbia and like blends it with like different genres and shit like that. So it's just been
Oh yeah,
mad.
I put him up here.
Yeah, it's mad interesting. So like I've been seeing like how it's kind of like blowing up a little bit more and like yeah, like Peso Pluma and shit like that. That shit is hard, yeah. That shit is super super dope.
Yeah, especially if you're like lit too.
Valid as fuck, yeah. I feel like just like the live instrumentation side of it, and then like the way they're blending electronic instruments into that now too, it's just like really really cool. But like actually had a question for you because I know we were like kind of joking about like we were joking about country earlier and shit like that. Would you consider like Tejano music to be like close to like a form of country, or is it like I know there's distinct differences obviously, but like when you break it down culturally, are there like parallels there? Because I always felt like there were, but I never really got to ask anybody.
That's a good question. Because what is country really? Like, is that like American like outlaw music or like
I would say that like to me, I guess if I was to describe country, and this is like from my linear perspective, I've been exposed to it by a couple of different folks. And like even like in like BH, like Ashland like fucking loves country, and like so does like Joba. Like all the guys from Texas are like
That
really
makes sense.
big country heads. So like they like showed me like George Strait and shit like that. I
sure,
just
yeah.
feel like it's ultimately like the music of like Americana culture at the end of the day, like Southern Americana culture, and Southern Americana culture revolves around like homesteading and like the like homesteading lifestyle. Sorry, I have like some sirens and shit like that around me. But yeah, like I think that it's really just lifestyle music about like a
mm,
specific type of American culture, and the sounds and the lyrics are all kind of like indicative and representative of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like interesting to me because I always like I don't fully understand like I know some Spanish, but I don't know enough Spanish to like fully understand the songs, if that makes sense. But there's like some like Puerto Rican music and Dominican music and like Tejano music and shit like that I listen to, and I'm like, yo, this feels very like country esque, but I wouldn't call it country, you know?
And what you're saying makes me see the connection more because even aesthetically, like a lot of it's like very like domestic ranch and like
Hmm.
like taking care of the land ish vibes, and a lot of Tejano and stuff like that is very much about that. I mean, even aesthetically, like the cowboy hats and like the ranching and the literal cattleness or cowness of the
Yeah,
genre
and the
is
pride for where you're
linked.
from and all that shit, you know, like it's just interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like the super cliche thought of a cowboy. Usually think of like a white dude on a horse. Like literally we're starting to see now like cowboys are literally like all demographics. Like you got black cowboys, you got like how we're saying like a Tejano cowboy. Like we have that around here. So there's definitely I feel absolute overlap in those genres and their subjects.
Hmm.
Yeah, that shit is mad interesting.
Yeah.
I'm curious to learn more of like that like cultural side of music because that shit is so fucking dope. And like I feel like I've definitely heard the influence of that in like some of like the beat tapes that you like put out in time and whatnot, where it was just like, yo, like the percussion and like the instrumentation that's like surrounding like the drum patterns and shit like that. It's just it's like where did this come from? A lot of it probably comes from like the shit that you like grew up on and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yeah, pretty much. And like it was like natural and intentional because I was like I wanted to link like the stuff I was hearing that I love, like Flying Lotus and whatnot, then link it with like kind of my upbringing, like kind of connect the heavy bass music I love with the regional kind of Tejano stuff. Like how can I meet that in the middle, like with my rhythms and stuff? Because I love both, and I want to like I don't know. I felt like that was the realest thing I could try to do for some of those songs.
So how long have you actually been making music?
Hell yeah. Make it like productions like 10 years, but I before that I was like in pop punk bands, and I've
Nice.
been drumming since in middle school. Like I got in band in middle school in drums. So, the ear that you all have for like the rhythmic stuff I do, like it really stems from that, like my upbringing in percussion, I think too.
That's cool.
How early was it when you started making like your own stuff?
I would say
Like
like 10 years ago.
so you
You
didn't never like wrote like or kind of jammed out like to something that you kind of thought of yourself?
Oh, like before that?
Yeah,
Usually it was in tandem in bands, like guitar bands.
right.
And I would play drums, and we would like write. I would like write. You know what I would write in? I don't know if they still exist or what it's called. Is it guitar? I think it's called Guitar Pro and Sibelius. They're pretty much like
Oh,
notation software. I remember trying
rebellious. That
and like tab software. I remember I would try to write for the band like that. So now that you bring it up, yeah, I think I was composing even before like Ableton
God,
and
oh
stuff.
my god, I definitely used that shit before, and
Yeah, the
definitely have
tab
written.
makers.
Yeah, I've written tabs out and shit like that before
yeah.
with like homies that were like in bands and whatnot, and like they like taught me. That's yo, those programs are fucking classics.
Yeah, Sibelius
Oh
is a
yeah.
fucking throwback to like high school music class.
For real. But like actually using it for dope shit, that shit used to be so crazy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, hell yeah. And like before I knew theory, I knew like three on guitar fret two or something. Or
Yep. I know exactly what you mean, dude. Oh man, that's crazy.
yeah, those tab makers and stuff were tight. Um yeah.
What were some of the names of the bands you were a part of?
Okay, yeah, this was funny. The first band I was in, it's silly. We were called Police Code 314, which is that police code is public indecency.
That's
Uh
that's kind of I got that's real. That's a good name.
Yeah, we're like probably inspired by like Blink-182 or something, which I don't think means anything. But yeah, please code
Oh, that's
314
hard.
public. And a band
So
that I'm pretty proud of that I was in was called the King's Jet Fighters, and then I was in another one called Thoughtless. And
nice.
if you scourge the internet, you'll probably find
I was about to
Thoughtless.
ask how much of that music is searchable and findable.
Thoughtless, spelled like thoughtless, and
Okay.
is definitely searchable on Bandcamp. And I do like that stuff. It's like pop punk emo.
What bands influences on your pop punk emo stuff?
Um, a lot, especially coming from their end, like American football and Blink-182 and yeah, Jawbreaker,
Cool.
uh, Captain. We're super into like Captain Jazz and like
Yeah.
kind of like math rocky stuff.
Awesome.
Peace
Yeah,
out.
we interview a lot of artists like that on our show. So it's
Yeah,
yeah,
I still
very
have a
cool.
love for that type that music. I still love that music.
That so that is that kind of where you were pulling from for something like Vicky?
Yeah, for sure. Like the vocals and stuff.
Oh man, that song so good.
Thank you. Yeah, that was like my first pop hit from the most known unknown, whatever that means.
So what made you like pivot from like band live stuff into production? You sounded like you're kind of separating those.
Yeah, and I say that with like I'm still interested in being in bands.
Mm.
I think, and it's probably like a few things. One of them being just efficiency and like just being like once no one is around, do I still make music? Sure, on the computer. Um,
Hmm.
like I had, again, I still have interest in being bands, but like the logistics of people being around sometimes wasn't cutting it. So I'm just like, I still want to songwrite. So um, we got a DAW. So let's figure that shit out.
Hmm.
Um, and also, a lot of artists I love are just I know it's like in it's natural now just to get a computer, get a DAW, and get shit cracking. But like a lot of artists I love is also just like singular stuff. We're talking like AFX Twin. I remember I remember even like being into like Animal Collective. I'm like, they're making all this noise with just like samplers. That's crazy. Like
Mm.
I want to get into this electronic realm.
Yeah. Electronic music is fucking fire. That's like
Yeah.
that was my gateway into getting into music. Who are
And
who are some of your favorite electronic artists outside aside from Aphex Twin, obviously?
I think just to expand on electronic, a lot of my favorite are like producers, just rap producers. Uh,
Mm.
I mentioned like Wu-Tang earlier. DJ Shadow was pretty big for me because like
Mm-hmm.
that was the first time I heard like, oh, you could make an album out of other like just samples. I know that's like natural now, but like at the time that was like mind blowing. A lot of current trap producers, I would like even like like Metro Boomin and
Mm.
uh Southside and Mike Will. I don't know if I sound like that, but I just love that music.
Mm.
Like a lot of my favorite artists are producers, especially in the rap realm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, trying
Yeah,
to think.
absolutely.
Oh, I love like Arca. I would say like
Yeah.
Sophie's probably like one of my favorite
Sophie,
musicians.
Mm. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in
the goat.
peace.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I definitely agree with you. I think like in rap, like for like I think I listen to Metro Boomin more than I listen to the rappers that he produces for. Um, at
Yeah,
this point.
Wonder Girl's tight. London on the Track's tight. Um, Wheezy's tight. All those Pierre, of course.
Mm. Are you into Clams Casino?
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome. I would say I
Yeah.
was pretty inspired by him too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jay Dilla, of course.
New
Um,
Tubers?
What's that?
Nujabes?
Oh, Nujabes, of course. Rest in peace to both.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the producer heavy hitters, Q-Tip,
Mm.
Tribe's last album, Hot Take Alert, I think is their best album. And it made me realize like, damn, Q-Tip really is a goat. Like the production on Tribe's last album is amazing. Su- I know it's probably critically lauded, but like I would suggest hearing it again. It's an amazing
Yeah.
Tribe album.
No, it's probably my favorite Tribe album, so I can agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's super dope. Production is so great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yo, I don't know how much longer we have left, but I just want to say, Rick is Ugly just came out with an album or a project, sorry, an EP yesterday, and
I did.
I have questions too. Damn,
This man
tables are
really did
turning.
it.
Also, Dom also has a couple tracks that just got released like this past couple weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and they're
Streaming.
tight.
Darling.
Yeah, Opening Statement and Darling. I think Opening Statement just came out like
Yeah.
right now. So shout out to y'all.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate
this guy.
it.
I'm excited for whatever you got else going coming on. Are you coming with like a project?
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff that's coming out. I'm just like trying to like warm it up again and just like get people used to having music out from me and whatnot, and like even the cycle of putting stuff out independently. It's a different like protocol and order of operations and shit, but we've like finally got it down. So now we're like starting to get the ball rolling on shit and
Once
just yeah.
once you get Twitter
Yo,
back, it's over.
can I ask you a question about streaming?
Talk to me.
Like I've been I've been heavily interested in like the different avenues of it because look, we all know the story. These streaming services are fucking shit, and
Oh
when
yeah.
people when we talk about and look, I use them, I'm guilty of that, blah blah blah. But like when we start talking about things like NFTs and stuff, people get like a sad face. But I'm like, is streaming any better than this alternative form? So I'm just like wondering, and I'm starting to see some cool avenues. There's one called Nina Protocol. I don't know. I need to
Hmm.
put that in there. Super worth following, but it's also like an alternative like platform where they have like a hookup with the artist where they yes are paying them way more, but they also have like it's just a different type of platform. I need to put it in the chat because it's really worth checking out.
Oh yeah. I like. Okay, so if you guys don't mind, is it cool if I like throw some insight into this?
No, that's
Yeah,
No,
fine.
yeah, I'm
that's
curious
perfect.
about it.
Okay, but so I've been like spending a lot of time looking at just the world that we live in and like what what is valued at what, if that makes sense, on like a big picture level. And we all know that music um is probably in like its least valuable place when it comes to a consumer like good in the current state of the world, right?
Yes.
It's just like a stream is worth nothing, and it's not necessarily the fault of the consumer, nor is it the fault of the artist. It's more the fault of the infrastructure that's been built out to get people to use the service and how that's not profitable. Similar to Netflix, if that makes sense, or similar to Amazon, where a lot of these big companies and even Twitter, like these big companies, will operate at a loss on purpose to get a bunch of people to use the service and then try to charge them later on. So that's just like common practice when it comes to Silicon Valley business tech. And then when you start to understand that, and when you start to understand like what people really want to do, which is get as many people to use their platform as possible, if folks are willing to pay artists what they're actually worth for their art to get people to use their platform, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. It's no different than me commissioning an artist to make a work that I'm going to put in a museum that people have to pay and go see. And it's I definitely think that there are a lot of ethics that need to be clarified that are questionable within it, but the reality of the situation is just like and you're in a developmental space for this shit right now. Like it's kind of the Wild West, so you can build what you want to see rather than having to play by the rules of what's been laid out and made for you.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, and I understand why people cry foul about the things, but also the only thing that we can do besides cry foul is better, or just succumb to the same circumstances and protocols that exist. And I think that the like for me, the way I look at music right now, and even my music, right, is streaming is just an advertisement platform.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
it's a convenient way for people to be able to digest the work that I want them to be able to see on a mainstream commercial platform, but that doesn't have to be all of my work. And I can have other work that people are, you know, invested in for various reasons. Even like the live streaming stuff that we do, and even like this Discord community, the people who have invested in it by like boosting the server and stuff like that. It's all for different reasons, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with the music. You know what I mean? And some of it does, and then like, and there's some things where it's like eventually I want to be able to start getting more to a like direct to consumer model where I'm just giving people the music and they can buy it if they want to
Mm.
and stream it if they want to, but they don't feel. But I feel like there's also been like a pressure on the consumer market to like get people to stream music as much as possible, and I don't think that that's necessarily healthy. Um, I think that people should listen to music when they feel like it and when they want to, and not necessarily feel pressured to support folks. And it's like
Mm.
if you can give someone $2 or $3 for a song that you like, rather than having to stream it for 18 hours. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's just sensible to me, and I think that um, there's as long as like it's like as long as it's a democratic approach to it, I'm into the idea. When it stops becoming democratic, that's when it's just like, all right, y'all ain't doing nothing but what everybody else is fucking doing. But I think that we're in a space in the world where we can ideally start to step away from the like entertainment industry to establish an economy for creative people.
Yeah, I feel you. Just because it's like the mainstream way of doing it, which I'm still gonna do, like putting on Spotify, etc., doesn't mean there's other avenues. Like you see that even I saw it. You think of like Matt Kami, the rapper, where
Yep,
he would
absolutely.
he would sell his thing for like $1,000, and
And
I
it wouldn't
thought
be on
that
streaming for
that
like
was
3
dope.
years. And it was like I didn't. There's records that of Matt Hamid that I didn't even know came out. They go on streaming, and I'm like, oh, this is dope. And I listen to it on my convenience. I'm not like a diehard Matt Hamid fan, but like for the people who are, they heard it 3 years ago. And it's like, oh, that's tight. That's a dope experience. If I'm like a super fan of this person.
So
Yeah,
here's my question then. So you mentioned avenues outside of the entertainment industry for creatives, but how would you stop that from just becoming another entertainment industry that's running in parallel with the current entertainment industry?
I think that the thing that makes it an industry is the way that the structure and the utility of the community is developed, you know?
Hmm.
And I don't think that it necessarily needs to be an entertainment industry because by design, an entertainment industry works around a growth model, like an infinite
Hmm.
growth model.
Yeah.
Like you have to always be getting more people to listen to your music, always getting more people to stream, always getting more people, more people, more people, more people, more people, instead of cultivating the people that are actually there already
Mm.
and like
Yeah.
giving care to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like there's room for um smaller communities to exist that can ultimately be like self-sustainable within
Yeah.
like supporting each other and shit like that.
You know who's
And
crazy? Oh, go on.
go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Someone who's going crazy on doing that is Lares. How did I say Laresso?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like he seems to be doing like everything you need to do to
how do you spell that?
establish a fan base. LARUSSELL.
Yeah.
He
That's what,
just hit a
oh,
million followers all by himself, and he does a really interesting things. So he does.
Wait,
He has like all
LARU.
SSELL.
Yeah.
And
I saw my first sponsored post by him on my Instagram page like this week, and I was genuinely happy to see it.
dude, like, I saw him a long time ago, and
I was like, "Get your money, black man. Let's fucking go."
like you see him rapping, and it's just really fun. And then you see how there's like 50, 60 people in a crowd in a backyard, all loving it. You check out his account, and he has like all these avenues for his fans to support them, like consciously not like funneling them to check out the Spotify or whatever. He has like stock, so people can buy the music for how much they want, and based on that amount, based on the growth, they'll get some kickback.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the stuff that I'm talking about too. Like
Yeah,
it's
he
like
uses this
alternative.
platform. Yeah, it's really sick. This platform called Even. We should actually have the guy who runs that on neighborhood radio because
That'd be crazy.
really cool people's with him. But but like basically what the way that the platform works is a pay as you want model, but you get to like be able to purchase and listen to the music before it comes out on streaming, and like which I think it's like a 90-10 split to the artist or something like that. But this dude got like I think like 4,000 people to buy his record and made like $250,000 off of that.
Yes.
Where it would have taken like 2 billion streams to do that or some shit. Like it was like crazy.
This year,
like,
so his stats is total revenue 148K, 6,700 fans, $22 was the average sale price. That's 91, and then there was 91,000 streams on Even, and that's the equivalent of 42 million.
Like
that scaling is just actually mind blowing.
Yeah, I read a stat that like if you buy someone's album on Bandcamp, it's like streaming it every single day for 3 years.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Talking about this just makes me realize like just because there's these established like monolith streaming things doesn't mean you can't create alternative avenues of like how to consume music. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
I think
and like I think maybe when we like grew up, like we wanted to be rock stars with a trillion eyes on us. But to me, and maybe I can speak for all of us, like making music, the value, yes, we kind of want to live off art. That's like an ideal thing, but the value is like just someone being like, "This is fucking dope." Like this thing you're making, like 1-to-1, like this is tight. I rather have a handful of people into it rather than like 1,000 million passive listeners. Like
100%.
There's an Australian hip hop group,
absolutely.
and they have a lyric that always resonated with me in one of their songs, which is "I'd rather be part of your playlist than ever be part of the A list." And like I heard that when I was like 12, and I'm like that's like influenced like my opinion on that. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, like it sucks because none of these avenues are like put in the forefront at all. Like I only see this stuff like through random Instagram ads. But
well, I mean that's also by design. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like that's the thing. Like that's what I was gonna say is like, it requires a conscious effort. But the great part is like, there's so many people who really do care about this shit. It's just finding those people.
And it's also like you're making a conscious decision when you decide not to be on these platforms and play their game to have to play a new one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and like I'm starting to see like all these artists who are only dropping music on like Instagram, for example, like Polo Perks just did a song
who's tired as fuck.
He rapped over "Real Friends" by Kanye, and like that should go gangbusters if he put that on streaming, but like it just looks like he's just keeping it on IG.
Playboy, everyone's going wild with the Playboy Cardi songs. Those are just on YouTube.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
absolutely.
Like, yeah.
I definitely for like just throwing stuff on YouTube for a while and just letting it exist there. I think that like also too, being an artist. Sorry, I was gonna say like being an artist. The thing about it is like you're kind of in the attention economy more than you're in the quality economy.
Yeah, definitely.
In modern society, at least.
Yeah, like look at 6ix9ine. Like he's not a musician; he's a social media like personality,
and he's still weirdly big as hell.
Well, I mean, as long as you're good at drawing attention to yourself, you'll be able to make money in America. That's like the reality of the situation. Like it's always a popularity contest more than anything else. But I think that like with I don't know, man. Like with that being said, there's this space between where you don't necessarily have to play that game, but like I said, you got to be conscious that you're playing a new one and making and maybe potentially making the playing field as you go. And just like be patient with that process. And I think that, like you were saying, Vice, a lot of people like have always wanted to like be a rock star or be on the radio and stuff like that. But it's like you don't necessarily need that in order to have a sustainable career for yourself. Like you can like I think that people don't realize how much 500 people is or 1,000 people is.
Right?
Like
I know.
you're getting
Yeah.
500 if you're getting 300 likes on something, you're filling most like rooms in America. You know what I'm saying? Like besides like major stages and shit like that. But like if you were to put like 300 people in a restaurant, you would be stressed the fuck out. You
That's
know what
so
I'm saying?
awesome. Yeah, yeah. And I think with this attention economy, we'd like to like compare ourselves to like Drake or like
Mm-hmm.
someone that's just a ridiculous amount and who arguably or not arguably have payola inside their
There's
shit.
literally a machine, yeah.
So like I don't it's kind of like a toxic thing that maybe even I was guilty of where I'm like, damn, I'm not popping. But dude, if like you said, even if it's like 20 people who are actually listening to you, like who care about what you're doing, that's so great. Like that's like awesome. Like if you were to
Yeah.
imagine if the 300 likes they were in a room and they were listening to your music, you know how good you would feel? Like
Yeah, that's like what I like when I look at my Spotify Wrapped this year and I had like 264 fans or something. And I'm like, I was sort of thinking like that's a quarter of my high school. Like that would be fucking like if I found out that a quarter of my high school listened to my music, I'd be like, holy fuck, like that's insane.
Yeah. It's real as
so
fuck.
so
Absolutely
like
real as fuck.
putting
Also, like these numbers are so disproportionate too, because it's like I just feel like the value of a million streams has been like insanely diluted. Like the value of a record sale has been diluted because of what the value of a stream is. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the streams don't really matter. It's like the people who are listening and like what they're doing with the music and how they live to it and shit. That shit matters the most.
absolutely. And there's homies I'm sure you'll see that like are in the cut. Like they're not announcing that they're listening, but they'll say later like, "Yo, like that shit was dope." Like I didn't say anything on Instagram or whatever, but like so like it's probably even more affecting even outside these metrics that we see on the screen.
Mm. Mhm.
Yo, Zeke,
Yeah.
what is your artist name?
Zeke Lanham.
Zeke what?
Lanham, Lanham. That's just my real name.
Lam
Lanham.
Lan. All right, tight. I'm like writing down with a pen real like 300 BC.
But yeah, like it's like look at someone like Logic, for example. Like Logic isn't the most popular guy in the world, but he has the most dedicated fan base. And whenever he releases shit, like his pure sales, like where people buy the record, are like always like significantly like outweigh like every single other rapper. Like if you can get a fan base like Logic's, like yeah,
We need to
like
annex
you.
Logic's fan base. Nah, shout out Logic. I do have a lot of respect for him, and
Yeah,
that's
like I'm
tight.
not.
Nah, I feel
Yeah,
that.
like,
I think the big thing about that, like with artists like that and people like that, is regardless of how you feel about like what they do or their art or the quality of the art or anything like that, they show up for the people that show up for them,
mhm.
and that shit's really fucking important. Um, I'm even still like trying to get better at showing up for the people that show up for me. Like I feel so fucking grateful for people's
Yeah.
support, but I traditionally am part of the silent like majority rather than the vocal minority on anything in my life, including myself. So I'm like working on being more vocally supportive of the people that support me because it's like
Yeah.
that shit really goes a long ass way.
And that's like the difference between like a J. Paul versus a Frank Ocean. Like, they're both like artists that, have a reputation for like being completely mysterious and silent and not dropping music or anything. But the difference is that when J. Paul does speak, you can tell that he is so immensely grateful for the fact that people have stuck around with him even though he hasn't been releasing music. Whereas every single time Frank Ocean speaks, like it just comes across as like kind of arrogant and like kind of like he takes his fan base for granted. And so I think like that's such a great example of like the importance of being there for the people. Yeah, like you say, Dom, like being there for the people who show up.
That's good I think that's good, like something to like aspire to. Just being vocally, just knowing how good it feels, and like feels validated when someone gives their support in an organic way, just to kind of show that to the person, that the people that you're into. And you know, it's complex. Some people's personalities are like, even me, like you feel shy or you feel like, oh, no one's saying it, so maybe it's not valid. But you know, if you feel love for someone, I think there's always room, and you probably should like
Mm.
show it out. I mean, even support from y'all, and you know, little supportive comments from like Dom and stuff. That's like kept me being like, okay, maybe what I'm doing is dope. Like I care about it, and people are receiving it. That's the goal, right? Like that's like people are affected. That's like that's all. That's what it's about, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Jamie
Absolutely.
Jamie said support comes in different forms, and I think like from an artist, it's hard to like keep that in mind, because
Mhm.
this the numbers, everything. Even if the better perspective on what 20 people might mean, if like it feels good to have someone just tell you straight up how they feel about it, how much they like what you do, and but yeah, that's another thing you gotta like. Hopefully, you can notice those other avenues, like just like those little story likes on when you say I release into music. That's someone who acknowledged that you're putting forward art, even if they didn't necessarily say anything. If they haven't said anything, that's someone who's paying attention.
Mm.
And that's
Sure,
really
for
valuable
sure.
too.
Yeah. There's like no rules for this new kind of forms of like showing love and stuff, and it's under like a system that's like, you know, from a corporate meta
For
universe
sure.
or whatever the fuck. But like you said, I think showing that even in the smallest ways, usually even when I like stuff, I'm like I have to at least acknowledge, like besides just
Yeah.
passively, like I want to actually look at this thing and respect it. Like
Mm.
even in, no one has to know either. Like I want to practice that, like
Exactly.
actually like a healthy consumption of good
Yeah.
artists and stuff.
Yeah, see, something I've noticed that I find really fucking bizarre, right? And it doesn't make sense to me, but something I've noticed is that people devalue artists that don't have high monthly listen counts on Spotify, right? Like, I will show someone an artist, and if that's just as good as like another artist they like, that's like got like 200,000 monthly listeners or whatever, but maybe this artist has 150 monthly listeners, right? But for some reason, that immediately makes this person not treat them as like a legitimate artist. Like they act
Yeah, they
like
need to get rid of that shit
Yeah.
yeah,
immediately. Honestly, the
like
same way
it,
that they
like
got rid of like the way they were trying to get rid of the like count on Twitter, they should have done that shit with monthly listeners on Spotify a
yeah.
long time ago.
If I show someone an artist with 150 monthly listeners, even if they're really fucking good, people always act like I'm showing them like my friend, like some like amateur,
Hey,
like
show
they just
me.
don't. Yeah,
No, go for it, Rick. Or
I was I was just gonna say like they don't take it seriously. Like they just act like, oh, like that's nice, darling. Like that's their type of reaction to artists with small monthly listeners.
we got to change that. We
Uh,
got to make it cool to show people with like below, like
right,
make it cool.
How the
Make it
fuck?
cool to
Yeah.
show your friends rather than like the hot new Cardi song. Like we're
yeah,
gonna hear
A
that anyway.
100%.
that's what I'm saying. Like yeah, oh, so
I agree.
this shit
I
annoys me
agree.
so much.
That's even
Like
better. Like the fact that like, hey, I'm showing you someone that I know, and I'm gonna show you some really cool music. Like
Yeah,
that should be such like that should be a flex.
yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah, for
like
sure. I think
it's like it's
that should
not
be the new flex. Don't show me something
yeah.
that's on my YouTube front page.
I've already
Like,
seen that. You know,
yeah, I
everyone's
saw
But
seen that.
that.
people, the thing is though, and this is the mindset that is, it's just you're not gonna break through. Unfortunately, most people in my experience like music to be trendy, right? Like you see in like the Australian music scene, right? Like surf rock, like kind of chilled out, like indie is like what's cool right now, right? And anyone who's trying to be cool or trendy, like will like that kind of stuff. And like I know so many people that if you show them anything other than that kind of music, like they won't like it. And it's just really hard to like break through that mindset. And then, you know, the similar mindset there then is that people don't want to be associated with music that has like 100 monthly listeners, because to them it's not cool, and to them it doesn't
I think
show
that
like an
this is it. I'll put it this way: when it comes to listening to music in social settings, you want to be able to have sing along moments with like multiple people.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
even being as a DJ, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I have to balance between like playing the music that my friends make and the music that people like know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In
No,
ways
absolutely.
where it keeps the value high to
Mm.
everything that's being offered to the table. And I think that that's also
Yeah.
a thing too. Is like
Absolutely. Yeah.
sometimes it's a matter of like being able to like throw the things you like in the mix of the things that everybody else likes, and not even saying or doing anything about it or showing. They'd be like, "Hey, look at this!" Like, it's not just there. It's there like everything else is there. You know, and
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
and just you know, making it more commonplace for that to be something that's like something that like a lot of my favorite selectors have always done in life, is like they'll be able to blend things that I'm familiar with things I've never heard of before, and then it makes me go down a rabbit hole of like, what was that thing that I never heard before, you know? And then now I'm learning about two step and garage and shit like that, you know?
Yeah.
Garage.
Garage.
Urban. What do you call it? Two step. Now we've got what do you call it by while stuck in my
Yeah.
head.
So with this, what Shami said, make a dope eclectic playlist with a little stuff people know and don't know. That's really how, because this conversation because we know how we think, right? Like saying like, well, you should listen to this. Even that's not really gonna make it cool. You could actually make things cool, and that's like a tactic, like playlist or a DJ set where you meld both worlds.
Yeah.
I think bridges that to like these are the
No.
merging six
That-
shit.
That's like what I do if I'm like making a playlist for a girl or something. I'll make it like 80% like trendy shit, and then like 20% like random stuff that I just like needle in there in between.
My favorite thing is like what I try to do with that is I treat artists that I'm a fan of like any other artist, like AFK or you know, or even your music, like genuinely like when I put it into a playlist and I'm showing people some music, it's just like, yo, this is a super cool artist, and I you know, like it's I'm just as much of a fan of them, you know. And yeah, I agree, like making it like trying to make someone who isn't really invested into it consciously invested, like you can't do that. It has to be
Right, it's
natural.
yeah. It's like you know, like with
You have to
Brockhampton.
give people a chance to discover shit. That's really
100%.
Absolutely. Like I remember like when Brockhampton came out, and I was showing everyone at high school, and like no one gave a fuck. But then Triple J made it their like Saturation 2, their feature album of the month, and suddenly everyone was like, "Oh my god, like Brockhampton's amazing!" And like that was the moment that made me realize that like I have to just let people get into shit on there, like in a way that makes them invested, rather than me trying to force it onto them.
See, like that's a good
It-
thing that it can happen like that.
Yeah, I think we have the power to make it cool, and rather than like preachy. Like,
Yeah, no, definitely.
just think of
like,
how we would want to receive something like.
Yeah. Like at first I was annoyed because I was like, man, like I showed you guys like this band like 3 months ago, but then I slowly realized, actually, you know what? It's because they heard it in a setting that makes it cool and makes it interesting, rather
Very
than their annoying guy at high school being like, yo, check this out. Oh,
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things where it's like now they have a moment where they can all sing along to a song together.
Yeah.
That's being
Oh,
exposed to them like a way that's like it's being exposed to them in a social manner. And that was something that I really noticed that was interesting about Australia, Australian radio, is like the fact that you guys have like, and also this happens in Europe as well too. Like in America, we have like a million different fucking radio stations, and in Australia, like Triple J is everywhere. If that makes sense.
Oh, bro, if you're not getting played on Triple J, like you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. But like in America, you have like Hot 97, and that's just New York's radio station. The only reason that that's popularized is because people had to go to New York for press runs. And that was the radio station that they had to go to because it was attached to iHeartMedia. or what used to be iHeartMedia, which is now whatever, like which was now iHeartMedia, like, but like that type of shit. It's like when you like start to learn how to follow the money and shit like that as well too. It's like super split up in America, but in like other places, like especially places like Australia, it's like if you want your music to be in a social environment, just point it towards Triple J.
Absolutely, yeah.
What kind of
Um,
music? What kind of music does Triple J play? Like all types?
They
like
play
everything.
everything. Yeah, like at the moment, like I sort of mentioned earlier, like it's very much like a lot of like indie surf rocky kind of stuff. But yeah, like they're responsible for like Flume. Got big from Triple J.
Sick.
Like the Chats, like Smoko by the Chats. I'm not sure if you've heard that, but like they're playing at Coachella and stuff now, and they were on Triple J, and they're like a punk band.
Yo.
But yeah, no, Triple J is like, yeah, I've never really thought about it before, but it is very monolithic in Australia due to that. And that's like a great point that I haven't really considered about that like social setting and stuff.
Music is so
Definitely true.
situational, dude. Like I didn't
Definitely,
I
it's
remember
true.
a moment in time in life for me where it's funny. This is like such a random album for me to have this moment with, But
Yeah.
fucking Magna Carta, Holy Grail. I remember when that fucking album like came out. I was just like, yo, I don't get this. This is like hella melodramatic and kind of trash to me, just like sonically. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Till
And
the cup runneth over.
and
Holy
I was
Grail.
and I was just sitting in my house, like listening to it on my laptop speakers, and it did nothing for me. You know what I'm saying?
I felt
And
the time for it though.
yeah, I was gonna say, but then and this is like how I felt about the whole project. And then there was a point in time in my life I was in a airport and I had my fucking music on shuffle, and that like one of the songs off that album came on, and I was like, oh, this is music to like feel like you're the shit to. And like I feel like the shit right now going through this airport, so this music is great for this moment. It feels like I'm in a fucking movie scene. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, music is like so fucking situational when it comes to this type of stuff, because things that I could like absolutely just not be into when I'm listening to it either by myself in like an isolated setting like at home could be something that I absolutely love when I'm with a group of people. And like that's how I feel about like Cardi and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. I was literally just about to say like that sort of like 2016, 2017 era of hip hop, like Lil Pump, like XXXTentacion, like I guess all that like Florida like stuff. Like I've always said to people, like if you don't like, and obviously I don't speak for everyone here, but for me, I've always felt a song like Gucci Gang, like if you don't like Gucci Gang, you just weren't at parties and stuff like in that era, because if you were at parties in that era and heard Gucci Gang, you would love it because of that social setting of just being in a room with 50 people chanting Gucci Gang, like like that shit's like mad fun.
Valid ass point.
No, for sure.
I
Like
think that everybody has those times, like basically like whatever the music is from like whatever your age 17 to like 23, whatever the popular music is of that era, that's like what that is for you. Like for me, that's like A$AP Rocky.
Yeah, no, like legit. But yeah, I'm not saying people have to like Lil Pump or that they missed out if they didn't like it or whatever. But like for me personally,
like, if you weren't at parties during that era where that music would be played, then it wouldn't make sense to you, and that makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, listen to Burial in the Rain.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I've got a like one of my favorite things to do is like I never listen to Burial like through the day, but like if it's raining, I'll go sit in my spa outside at like 10 o'clock at night in the rain listening to Burial, and it's like the best album ever made in that moment.
You listen to things with different ears at different times. Yeah, context is like highly effective. Like
facts, yeah. That also was a crazy bar, Zeke. Like just sitting in my spa listening to Burial. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, so Vice, I have a question for you. What would be the ideal situation for the music that you have made to be listened to in, and the music that you're making that you're going to be putting out into the world? What's the ideal scenario or circumstance for that music to be listened to? Is it like a social setting? Is it by yourself? Is it with a small group of friends? Is it with strangers? Is it at a bar? What are like some of the favorite scenarios that you've conceptualized?
Good question, because I was thinking heavily about that for this new stuff I'm working on. Like I'm even imagining it while I'm making it, and it's really, my new stuff is like for the club, like it's for
Mhm.
and I'm
Go.
the context in my brain is like it's like a dark club, like, and it's just heavy for the club.
Damn, that's fire.
And yeah, so
Like a German club in Mexico.
like a German club in Mexico. Yeah, and it's like hella dank, and it's like they only have one red light on, and the subs are amazing.
I
And
just want to say that would go crazy as an album title, The German Club in Mexico.
That is a hard ass.
I got a Chinese friend named Mexican Mike or whatever that.
Dude, Danny
Brown.
Brown, that was crazy. I got it.
But yeah, that question, that's I've been. This is like the first time way more that I'm thinking in a context. Like this newer stuff is like it's just for, I'm thinking of like that dank, bass heavy, dark club.
No, 100%.
And
Love
like
that.
the music that I have, like generally before that's released, I'm thinking it's like you're like in a parade, but like going fast in a car, like the parade, like the fastest parade ever.
I
Yeah,
that's fire. I really want to hear the stuff that sounds like Dirty Club because I love dirty fucking club music. Like
German. I'm gonna write that down.
If-
German club in Mexico. Or
I
like,
love music that makes you sound like it's 2 a.m. and you're one of the last people on the dance floor with all the other club goers either leaving or passed out in the corner.
I feel like that's what all of my electronic music sounds like.
Yeah, and like it's that time of the night
like
your body
5
just
a.m.
yeah, like you're on autopilot, you're just dancing without
Or it's
thinking.
like the ride home or like the walk home. Like that's what like
Yeah.
I make my electronic music for. That's like
Yeah.
my burial
See,
inspiration.
I just like
yeah.
sorry, I don't want to derail the conversation, but I want to talk about Burial for a second. I just love how he is able to make music that is groovy and danceable, but it's got so much emotion and conjures so much like vibe. Like it's not just club
There's
music.
an
Like
era of that shit. Mount
it tells
Kimby
us
and
yeah.
Mount Kimby and Mala and like all of those guys as well too. Like they really were crushing it during that time.
Man,
Yeah.
I still love all that. I still love Mount Kimby. Everything that came out through and still coming out through Hyperdub.
Yeah, facts.
Hella
Yeah.
inspiring for me.
See, like I've listened recently. I've been obsessed with Nova by Burial and Fortet. Like because that song, like even though it's like I love it, it's like I groove to it, but it also makes me feel sad as fuck. And like I love that. You know.
Have you ever listened to Corliss with a K?
Yeah, I dig their production too. The
Corliss
stuff
is so fucking
that I
good.
really
Yeah.
love from them that I've heard is like it's almost beatless. It's just like like it's like just like stuttering synth or
Mhm.
something. Yeah, that shit's dope.
I've got a Gore by Callers saved on Spotify, so I guess I better check that out.
Corliss with a K.
Away by Corliss is like one of my favorite electronic songs of all time because of
What is
the
it called?
emotion that it captures. Away by Corliss.
I love Banger as well. Banger is so fire. Like his album Night with
Mhm.
album Night.
Yeah,
His
Banger's
song
fucking sick.
his
Yeah,
song Night with Koki. Like that song
yeah,
is
that song's
so
amazing. That's a
that
really
song
that's
is
a
like
slapper.
that song for me, and that song for me perfectly captures like why I think like it was such an issue when dubstep evolved because it's like, you know, don't get me wrong, like I was into Skrillex and stuff at the time, but like the old dubstep like captured that like 3 a.m. like dark alleyways, like walking home from the club like type vibe, like, and that shit was grimy as fuck. And then
The new Skrillex stuff was dope. Like I love
the new Skrillex stuff, yeah, like that is super dope. But
I think
but
he's like
then
one of the best
yeah, like
producers.
I'm gonna sound like a wanker for a second, but yeah, like I don't really like that bro step stuff. Like I loved it at the time, but now like looking back on both old dubstep and new dubstep, like I just way preferred the grimy, like disgusting vibes of the earlier stuff as opposed to the big like festival EDM-y sound of like the newer stuff. But
Hell yeah.
yeah, and like Banger, like and Night for me is like the epitome of that. Like that song, like makes me feel like I'm about to get shanked in an alleyway by a hooded figure at
That's
3
what we
a.m.
need. We need more music like that.
It's hilarious.
Like I've gone out the club the wrong way, and now I'm gonna die.
Yo, you know what? That's what honestly Nevermind was. It wasn't effortless, or it wasn't because it was on a weekend. It was specifically for that very very late night. Wait, you should have been home already.
I'm checking out this link over here. Okay, I'm not gonna play it right now, but I'm gonna save this.
Yeah, this is like my shit right here. Like this is like that 4 to 6 a.m. like post club vibe.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Shami, I agree. Honestly, never mind. I liked that album. I was very surprised.
I mean, it has its merit for sure.
I listened to it when it came out, and I'm like, this is pretty good. And then
I haven't really been listening to much Drake. I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake. That's a whole other conversation. We don't gotta get into it.
I don't listen to that much Drake either. But
Drake
I remember
needs our listens.
I remember when I listened to Honestly Nevermind, I liked it, and then I went on the internet expecting to be like, hey guys, expecting everyone to agree with me that Drake has dropped like some like new project that's like a good left turn for him. But then I went online and everyone was shitting on it, and I'm like, oh okay.
Well, like
Okay.
again, that's just when people are when it's like critical and stuff of that. It is a kind of uninspired house project, but there's nothing like inherently wrong with that.
Like, and again, I think like going back to talking about like listening to music in different situations, like people are like, oh my god, like this is Forever 21 music or H&M music or whatever. But like if I'm in a barbecue, like sitting around a pool with my friends and I had Honestly Nevermind on, like that shit would be a bop.
Dude, I'm saying
folks
like
don't realize that folks don't realize the fucking covers, like the title song off Take Care is a Jamie XX track.
Like sometimes like people say, oh, this is such like an H&M song. I'm thinking like, bro, if I'm like shopping for jeans and I hear something like this on, I'm shaking my ass. Like, I don't.
When I was working at Urban Outfitters, I heard the original version of Take Care, and I was like, "Is this Drake and Urban Outfitters?" And it was like, "No, this is Jamie XX and Got Hair." And I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? This is the project."
I practically soy jacked. I remember, like, huge Jamie XX fan, and I remember the girl I was talking to sent me the Drake Take Care, and I hadn't heard it. And I'm like, she sent it to me, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Like, did Drake collab with Jamie XX? Like, what is this?
There's such a plethora of like crazy dance producers, and I think it's smart that rappers go to these dance producers because they could really pop off.
Yeah, the song that Young Thug and Jamie XX did is like one of the greatest.
I love that song.
Zeke, my favorite hot take from Zeke, because I don't necessarily, I disagree with it, but I really respect it. Is Vince's best album by far is Big Fish Theory, precisely because,
I would agree. It's his most creative, that's for sure.
No, yeah,
and definitely, you've got like Crabs in a Bucket, like that's Vince Staples rapping on a burial beat, straight up. Like I love that song. Or like Yeah Right, like okay, like can we talk about the song Yeah Right? Like that is Vince Staples, Kendrick Lamar, Flume, and Sophie.
Dude, dude, for me, I just got into music in 2016. We got internet, and I just got into music, and I was able to explore it how I really wanted to. And I'm seeing like someone says, "Oh, new Kendrick feature." I'm like, "Okay, awesome, cool, Kendrick, yay!" And I've listened to it, like I've heard North or whatever, and then I hear Yeah Right, dude. That shit blew my.
Big Fish Theory made me change my whole musical style. I'm not even gonna hold y'all.
No, I was integral for sure.
No,
I was like before we made Saturation, I was like making like really like mechanical electronic sounding shit and like rapping over it and stuff like that. And it was just like it wasn't connecting within the group and whatnot. So it was just kind of like I was just sitting on it. And then Big Fish Theory came out, and I was like, well, there's no reason for me to put this out anymore because this is like a million times higher quality than anything I can produce right now.
Big Fish Theory, like Big Fish Theory is just like Vince Staples needs to go back to that. Like no one else is making music like that. Like even the UK has abandoned rapping on beats like that. Like Vince is the only guy doing that.
Badass club album too. Big Fish Theory.
Speaking of crazy music, B11ce.
Big and crazy music alert.
Cabin Fever. He produced this. From Domino. We got a video here.
Love Domino.
Domino, who's also doing...
Big shout out to Domino. That's how I met you, yeah.
Yeah, Domino's great connector, great rapper. He's also interested in alternative forms of giving music, so he's on that tip too.
He's been crushing it.
Oh yeah.
Nah, sick. We're gonna be listening to this real quick. Cabin Fever, Neighborhood Radio. Let's get it.
Oh my goodness. Copy that. Here we go.
What is it?
On the street, you ain't even know a nigga rap and sing. Baby got 1, 1, 2, 2, 3 times, so stop fucking playing with me. Yo, stick up, need 100 mil just to pick up the phone. We on stage, hell yeah, put a tit up. Bitch wanna pass me, leave me alone, like move, get on my face. She just wanna know what I sip. Codeine crate, now she walk with a limp. Okay, way too clean when I drip. Okay, way too clean when I drip. I gotta whisper, paparazzi. Staring at her lips, I forgot to kiss her. Now I'm Perry. Now I'm all alone with these on my team.
That was crazy.
I feel like my life has now been split into two distinct periods: pre that song and post that song.
No, that was so cool. And Bice mixed that too. It says in the description.
That would have
nuts.
Respect to you for mixing that. That would have been hard, I reckon, with all that.
Appreciate it.
going on.
It's been in the works for like a year, so I put some love in that song.
I'm adding that shit to my playlist like right now. That is.
I'm assuming that was Jazzy. She was fucking bars.
Yeah,
Bro,
I love this song so
She
much.
was spazzing on that.
hang on.
Yeah,
What's
the team was awesome. The rappers were Domino, Jazzy, and Jamie. Yeah, that was the team. And
That was fucking cracked. That's like the kind of shit I wish we would get in Australia. I mean, we have artists like that, but they're not popping here. Like, no one likes them.
hell yeah, I appreciate it, y'all. If you're good to this, you'll like the stuff I'm gonna come out with next year.
No, that was awesome. How did this song come together?
It's called Cabin Fever because we made it. Well, it was an Airbnb, but Dom was like, "Yo, I got an Airbnb. I'm working on an album. Come through." And on the last days, we cracked that, and it felt like Cabin Fever-ish. Like we're like, little sleep. I made that beat, well, like a orphan version of it, and like they're like kind of delirious, and they just delivered on the mic, and then yeah, that was like a year. It was like a year ago from today.
Yeah, that was fucking cracked. That was like that percussion. That was like some Sophie like shit right there.
Cabin Fever, Domino. Definitely check that
Fuck.
out. We'll be adding that to the I Love My Plug playlist.
I feel like I've just been hit by a truck. Like that was insane.
You felt like what?
I've been hit by a truck.
Oh hell yeah!
Can I make a Bice request?
Yeah.
I want to show the people this.
Oh hell yeah, this EP's great.
Fiesta Texas is so fucking slept on. Like, I actually throw this in DJ sets to this. Like, I throw various songs from this project in DJ sets to this day just to like turn the party up.
Fuck yeah! Hell yeah! That's so hard. What song is it? Let me see.
Songs Got You with 3 O's from Bice off Fiesta Texas. Hell yeah. Let's
I know
get
this
it.
is super old shit. I'm sorry, but
No, I love it. Needs love too.
Hell yeah.
Real Badman. Badman.
Real bad man.
Got
That
you
shit
from
is so
Bice.
fucking crazy.
That was fire.
Hell yeah. Thank y'all.
It's like if like Wall of Sound. You know what I'm saying? I love Wall of Sound type shit like that in that world, and like that's what remember I was talking about like the like cumbia stuff and like like that's like one of the tracks for me where I was like, yo, like I feel like I'm hearing so many different forms of inspiration come together to make something that I haven't heard before, and it's like that shit is so tight.
Bro,
Fuck yeah, that was the intention too. Like just like an elevated version, newer version of like the shit I'm grew up with. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
from
I love
Texas.
I love it when people do that. Like when you can hear their childhood shit in like a new form in their music. Like that's
no,
my favorite.
my
thing.
favorite music is when it sounds like 5 different genres at once, but every single time I listen to Bice, it's 10. Like it's like I remember when I started listening,
Texas
you
stand up.
just dropped a key right here.
Yeah,
That single and that song, holy shit. I don't know if you guys want to stick how much longer you guys want to go for. We do one more song, but that's the ticket right there.
I'm chilling.
That,
Yeah.
that video's fire. I would like
Dude, that video,
that
that instead of sharing the song, I shared the video.
yeah, that's a best way to show it.
Hold on, let me get that. Okay. This is from their
Appreciate it,
album
Shammy.
Nalgas Dulces.
You're
All right.
But yeah, Fiesta Texas like reminds me of like MIA as well too, in like the coolest fucking way.
one of my heroes. I don't know currently, but I still love her.
I
feel that. I feel that.
It is what
Yeah.
it is. I
still love
keep
it.
right here, Bice Neighborhood Radio.
till we couldn't function. Paired together like conjunction, paired together for the others. Getting this in seeing colors. You were great, now how's your brother? He was great, now how's your mother? Fucked me in the kitchen counter, fucked me in the grounds, fucked me in the kitchen, fucked me.
Okay, I think we're
All right, wait.
Sneak back in the cupboard and take a bite out of a candy bar or any other forbidden cookies or cakes or whatever.
Damn. What the fuck did I just watch?
Classic. That
That shit is
song.
so sick.
I did like I heard because I think I saw like a couple songs from Vice and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I heard that I'm like, oh, I have to listen to his stuff. Like that,
Oh, yeah.
there's a million different things that went into making that, and you did this in 2020, like that year of all like that. It's insane to me.
Facts.
Yeah, I released it during COVID. I mean, COVID's arguably still happening. Not arguably, it is, but yeah, during like quarantine time.
Yeah. Shout out COVID projects. Got to be one of my favorite types.
That's one of the best ones right there. I'm just saying. Nalgas de luces.
Let's go. Thanks for having me, yo.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you for coming on here. For real.
No,
This is
really
so
appreciate
tight.
it. It was really good to
Yeah.
chat, and it's been really fun.
No, yeah, this was a great episode. Really happy to have you
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, and I'll be more acquainted in the neighborhood here.
No, we'd love to have you on. Like it's you know, like with things like we've been talking about throughout this episode, like uplifting artists and stuff. Like that's we love with the neighborhood radios. So many people just too talented, and
Thank you. for having me.
we love having you part of it.
But so
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna send you an Australian artist a bit later called Behind You. That I reckon you would like. They've only got
Okay.
400 monthly listeners, but they're like very, very sort of Death Grips adjacent, but make it Australian.
Yeah, that's a new vibe. Remember, we're like that's like the new rule.
Yeah.
Like only send each other stuff below 1,000 followers. Or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But no, thank you, Zeke. I'm gonna check your stuff out. Zeke Lanhan.
Zeke Lanham.
Yeah, I got it
Yeah.
in here. But no, for real, thank you again, and hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your day. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for listening to
Hope-
this interview.
Yeah, hope everyone has a good Christmas as well.
It's the last episode of the year.
Yeah, we'll see everyone in the new year. New neighborhood
Appreciate
radio.
everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Peace.